Hello, all listeners, and welcome to episode 18 of the All Gunners podcast. This is your host Zed, and joining me as always to break down a very eventful North London derby is my co host Harry. Harry, my friend, how are you on this lovely Sunday night?
Ooh, Zed. I mean, I noticed you didn't go with your hello, hello, hello as you
Nah,
usually
mate.
do. And there's
Nah,
a
mate.
good reason for why you didn't do that, I know. And I wish I could be saying to you, could we avoid discussing that? But of course, we
Nah,
can't
mate.
do that.
We
But
can't.
yeah,
We can't.
I'm not great, mate. I'm not great because we were so animated in the last pod, weren't we?
Oh,
Because we
yeah.
were
We were looking
nearly
forward to
there.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to that derby. And as we're about to discuss, just miserably lost it in a really really bad fashion. And well, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm surviving,
You're
coping. Let's
surviving.
just say that.
Coping,
Yeah,
coping, coping. I
yeah.
mean, that's a nice way to put it. I think it's been an eventful couple of days since our last episode. I mean, it wasn't very long ago, by 3 or 4 days, but
No, no,
in
no.
in that
You
time,
forced me to do that preview in the week, Zed. You forced me.
I did, and I thought, because I was so excited, mate, I was very looking forward to, Arsenal finally getting back into the Champions League after 5 bloody years. But you know what? This is football. This is the joys and the heartbreak of the sport that we love, of the beautiful
Correct.
game, right?
Correct.
And the North London Derby, mate, I'm just gonna run through some the most eventful North London Derby that we've had. Uh, so Arsenal started off very, very well,
Was
as
it
far as I'm.
eventful though? It was pretty
Yeah,
boring for me,
I
actually.
mean, well, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I wanted to shut off the TV after 22 minutes, but that's one. There was a very soft penalty. Cedric not timing his jump correctly, and Son, who was looking for that, that's his job, um, got the pen. Harry Kane, never in doubt, puts it away.
No.
Then Rob Holding gets a red card, which we will come on to. Then what you call Harry Kane, as soon as what you call, I think, 3 4 minutes later, uh, at the back post, Eddie Nketiah sleeping, not his job, but that's
Yeah.
where you need a centre
Yeah.
back sleeping. Kane puts it in. We survive, or the Gunners survive to half time. A lot of pressure. Then second half, Son puts the game to bed, and then we play out the remaining half of of the game. And it was very eventful for two reasons. Number one, Arsenal gloriously shooting themselves in the foot. And number two, the referee helping and enabling Arsenal shooting them
Yeah.
in the foot.
As it happens
So
always.
as it
Yeah.
happens, right? But that's the game, and that's what we're here to discuss. So take me through this North London derby. Well, how was it for you? How was the emotional roller coaster? And I
Yeah.
know before you get onto it, viewers may think I'm being very cold and very straightforward, but you know what, guys? It's because if I get emotional, we're gonna be here with me moaning for about 10 hours. So I'm gonna keep it professional and be the host today and let Harry be all emotional. All right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm glad that you are hosting because I don't think I would have even had the energy. I'm still sapped of energy after that game. Yeah, look, Zed, this is how I recall it because I am doing my best to put those memories, those horrible memories, out of my head. But I will recapture them for you for one final time. I think the first 20 minutes of the game were Arsenal were on the front foot and
Yeah.
brilliant. And it's interesting because on the last pod we were in depth really going into we what Arsenal should do, whether they
Yes.
and
Yes.
actually. They did exactly what you said or predicted
Yes.
that they would do.
Absolutely.
They went on the front foot because, as you predicted, you said that Arteta would want to play his game. And for the first 80, 90 minutes or so, it was working, and Arsenal were sort of making chances and getting forward into the box, and Spurs seemed to be sort of looking like they were sort of soaking up the pressure, but their breaks weren't even working. And I recall even in the commentary saying actually there's a couple of times where the notice that actually El Neni was well drilled to stay
Hmm.
on Kane. So
Yeah.
Kane was in those sort of deep pocket areas, wasn't he, where he was on that half turn. But every time he was trying to play Son or Kulishevsky through, he was actually being blocked. So the commentary was actually very forthcoming about how Arteta's tactics were working. And then, as you mentioned correctly, is the penalty happened, and
Yes.
the penalty was actually just a for a young team like Arsenal, who, let's face it, sort of themselves are shocked and surprised to where we are this season, given the average age of the squad.
Hmm.
Um, that's where mental strength is required and comes in, because a team that has a bit more age on its average sort of
A bit more
side, a bit
experience.
more experience, a bit more people who've been in those kind of situations, a few more of them, they may deal with that differently. But that penalty, as you mentioned, you talked about it being sort of. I mean, you talked about sort of the jump and not being sort of in the right sort of moment. I actually at the time I think we were probably messaging each other to
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
well,
well,
soft penalty or otherwise. But actually, I think shoving like that happens in the box every week in a Premier League game. To be honest with you, and if you're going to give that as a penalty, you're seeing penalties nearly every game. I think it's who said it is numerous people on social media having spoken about it. It's a penalty that the referee wanted to give as opposed to
yeah.
had to
He,
give.
he 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 was looking for it. He was
He
looking
was
for it.
looking for it.
I think Cedric's jump was slightly mistimed. I'm not going to sit here and say Cedric played that well and it was good move. He times
Yeah.
this mistimes his jump. I mean, he's allowed to do that,
Which
which
happens though, Zed,
happens.
which
Yeah,
happens
absolutely,
within the
absolutely.
penalty box every. But if you look at the angle of where it's being replayed on social media non-stop, where from behind the goal, you can actually see where actually there's not really much contact. Son is looking for it, but
Yeah, yeah, of course he
this
is.
is what I'm going to link in now, because I don't think many people will link it how I've just linked it. Is
Hmm.
the problem with Cedric at that point is that, and we'll come on to Rob Holding in a second, is that Son was getting battered by Rob Holding in the first 20 minutes before that. So there'd already been a couple of incidents where
There were.
Son was already starting to look for and getting into the heads of the Arsenal players, in particular Rob Holding.
Yeah,
And I think then when Son goes down like that, it's only because the first few minutes and leading up, the referee. I mean, even the commentary, which I felt was quite biased at the time, is what's that comment? Tyler was talking about. Martin Tyler was going, is this referee going to protect Son? And that's precisely what happened. It's almost like the script was being written by the commentary team. To be honest with you, that's then what happened is that, yeah, I think you probably say in respect to Cedric, he wasn't very streetwise at that
no,
point,
no, he was
right?
not. He was not.
If you were going to
He
criticise him,
played into their hand. Look,
yeah,
Son's a tricky winger. That's his entire job in the Premier League is to go down on the smallest amount of
yeah.
contact and make it seem like his nose has been broken off.
Absolutely, and I tell you another thing as well, Zed. If Cedric doesn't jump, that ball's not coming to Son anyway. That's the sad
That's
thing
the
here.
worst thing. Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah,
wasn't
that
getting to it. He wasn't getting to
he
it.
wasn't getting to it, but he is so perfect at winning those kind of penalties and situations, even outside of the box when it's free kicks. Is that he will make it look like that he could have won that ball, right?
Yeah,
And
of
that's
course.
what fooled the ref. And unfortunately, and I don't know whether VAR were asleep or anything, but I do think it's one of those that VAR could have intervened in and said, "Go and look at the monitor." And
Well,
surely, you
the
know,
problem with VAR is it wasn't a clear and obvious error. There was contact. The player did get down. There's a shove in the back. Cedric isn't getting his head to the ball. He's literally
Is
just
it a
shoving.
shove though, Zed, or is it just contact in the back?
It,
That's
it
the
is
difference.
it is contact in the back, but my biggest problem with that is that Cedric isn't making his head move
That's the
towards the ball,
problem. That
right?
was the problem.
That's the
Yeah,
problem. If he, makes the movement towards the ball, regardless of what it is, the ref can no, look, he intends to
they're
play the
challenging for the
ball.
ball. Yeah,
He's challenging for the
it's
ball, and
because
that's fair
he's
game.
going sideways in, and he
Yeah,
doesn't look like he's going for the ball. Which then that's why I mean he wasn't streetwise enough,
yeah,
because,
exactly.
as I say, the way the ball is travelling over the flight of the ball, it was never. It's gone past on that ball. As in, who was it? Their left back. Tottenham's left. Was it
Sessignon.
Sessignon? Does it? And I think it even bobbles. It might have even touched his arm. I think for a second, whereas it bobbles away. But anyway, the penalty is given, and as you correctly mentioned, I'm not even going to go into it. But Kane don't miss penalties. Let's be
No, no, you
honest.
don't miss
And
penalties, man.
so that then changes the game totally. And then we come on to Rob Holding, and I called it. I might have even texted you. I'm not sure. I hope I didn't. But I called it, and I said that the way Rob Holding is playing here is is a red card waiting to happen, and
Yeah,
that's when your team needs leaders. Then isn't it, Zed? Really, your team. You need your Chackers and your. I mean, if Lacazette was on the pitch, but your Odegaard, who's captaining and whatnot, to be going over and saying,
calm
listen,
down.
calm down now, Rob. Right?
Yeah.
This guy
This guy's looking
is
for it.
world class. No, it's not just
Yeah.
that he's looking for it, Zed. He is world
He is. He
class,
is.
and he's not just world class. He's one of the most street savvy footballers that are playing in the Premier League or in world football. Is
Yeah,
that
absolutely,
because
mate.
he is? You see, what you saw from the double yellow card here, which by the way, I'll put it out there to your listeners. I've got no problem with either of those yellow
Hmm.
cards, if I'm honest with you, and I think you'll
No, no,
probably
he,
agree with
he
me.
deserved it. He
He
deserved
deserved
it.
both yellow cards. Is you get moments where sometimes players, defenders, people are on the sort of other end from the attacking player. They're just reckless, or
Yes.
they're just kind of clumsy. Is the word I really was looking for. But he wasn't clumsy. What he was, Rob Holding, in that situation, he was actually outclassed in that second yellow, right? In
Yeah,
respect
yeah,
of
yeah.
he was
He
never going
was.
to chase Son if Son has span him, right? And again, yes, I think there's different camera angles to say, well, actually did, but Son, as you said a few minutes ago, he played for it, didn't he, Zed?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and and in those situations, especially, you see, I think if that happens in the second half, you know,
He gets away with it.
maybe as the game, but because it happened so quickly after the yellow, the referee's already got it in his head. I mean, look, even the commentary team is saying, "Oh, how are you going to protect Son?" So if the commentary team is saying that, and you've already seen him give one of the softest penalties ever known in the Premier League, because that's what I believe it was, because I want to see penalties every week. Then after that one, I'll be honest with you. But anyway, moving away from the penalty, is Rob Holding was on a mad one, and
Yeah.
that's the problem here. The referee had already made his mind up before that, probably at the first yellow, that if this dude continues. So yeah, he gave the referee no choice. And I still think at 10 men, Zed, I still think at 10 men and at 1-0, there's something in the game for us. It's North London derby; anything can happen. And I'm probably thinking that our plan should be at that point is, if we can hold off until 1-0 at half
Half
time,
time. Yeah.
and then we can make a few changes, and then we can maybe just see out the game. Maybe because let's be honest, before the penalties, Ed, Tottenham were offering f all,
No,
absolutely
no,
nothing.
Tottenham were in the game, so this was Conte's plan, and we knew what was going to happen, and this is what we
Yeah,
discussed last time, that he was just going to sit because his quality is in the front line, which is only when it's on the break, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
Arsenal had to control. That's why I mentioned in the last part in episode 17 was that it was very, very important for Arsenal to get the first goal, because
yeah.
what that would have done was that would have panicked Tottenham, and they
That's
would have
right.
had to come
They would
out
have had
and
to come
play.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, and that
yeah.
would have given Arsenal a more opportunity to take the game. But because Tottenham foresaw it, and then the Arsenal players, especially Rob Holding, got too eager. Cedric got too eager. They were, trying to win everything on
It's
the
almost like
first.
they were pumped up too much, wasn't it?
Too much, yeah. I think they were trying to win back every single 50-50. They were trying to win
Yeah.
every single
It was
challenge.
naive. It was
It
naive.
was it
Yeah.
was very naive. It was very, and that naivety is what cost them. And this is why I say
Yeah,
Arsenal
yeah.
shot them
And and, and,
themselves in the
and, and,
foot.
and and so then at 1-0, I'm thinking, yeah, do you know what? Let's get to half time. We can still hold off, and then maybe, it happens, doesn't it? Sometimes a team goes down to 10 men, and they
Happened a lot
defend
with
better.
Arsenal.
Look at, yeah, exactly. But look at what they did, for example, against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup when they went down to 10 men in the first leg. They kind of saw out the game, and I thought we were going to probably potentially see another one of those performances. Just block off Tottenham. But then, and this is where maybe decisions cost, because obviously then people were talking about, commentary were talking about, or it wasn't commentary, but the pundits after that, not bringing Ben White on. Did Arteta think actually the game's up, we're never going to win this, and therefore he rested him because he felt that he maybe wasn't ready? But then there was talk of Ben White getting ready, and the decision, as you correctly pointed out, and Nketiah on Kane was never going to be a match up, and,
No,
and,
no.
and then they go 2-0 down at half time. It's always difficult in the North London derby when something like that happens, and then from there on, they've got their tails up, haven't they? Tottenham.
Yeah, yeah, of
They
course.
they, they come out, and I think, to be honest with you, Zed, even though we're as fans probably saying, oh, maybe we can come out and we can get 2-0 still
No, 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 no.
but
It was it was gone. It was
I
gone.
think I think I think I think Arteta realizes that it's gone at 2-0. And then they score a very early goal, don't they? Which is a very good goal, but again, very poor defending from us as well. But I think again, it's the naivety and it's the players not being in that. And I have to say that their fans were amazing for them, weren't they?
Oh
It was
yeah,
the atmosphere in there was like a World
it
Cup
was.
final.
Well, mate, they knew what that game meant, right? They knew that they had to win the North London derby to stand any chance of getting into the top four,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the fans were rightly behind the team. And you know what? That's the kind of passion that you want to see at a football
yeah.
stadium, right?
But I think it's the way that Stadium Z has been built as well. The acoustics in that stadium were it was loud on the TV, wasn't it?
Hmm. I mean, it was loud on the TV. I imagine the people sitting there, the Arsenal fans especially, would have been scared.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the team was scared, really. Let's be honest. But yeah, and then look, 3-0 straight after half time. It's just, I mean, to be honest with you, the chances that they had thereafter, I'm surprised it wasn't. I think we came out modestly at 3-0. But then look at 3-0, 10 men. They manage the game out well, don't they? And they win, and
I mean,
it is what it
it,
is.
it, it was over. They didn't want to risk anything. They tried as much as they could. Uh, they did what was needed to be done. Um, and they won. They wanted the 3 points, and that's what they got. And
Yeah.
I can't say they didn't deserve it. Arsenal,
No, they did. They did. They deserved it. Yeah.
they did deserve to win, and that's the fair assessment of the game.
Yeah.
In terms of whether Arsenal could get anything from the game, I think it just got worse for Arsenal because Gabriel came off injured,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it, that game really did nothing for Arsenal but create more trouble.
Well, if you think things can't get from bad to worse, your best defender is holding his hamstring, and that was a really disappointing sight at that point
Oh,
because
mate,
it's
that's a
like
scary sight.
because even though look, let's be honest, and I'm sure you were there too. You're thinking, all right, look, in terms of the, and we'll come on to it. I know we will later, but you think in terms of the context of the top four, we're still in the lead. We've still got this
Yes,
in our hands, and provided our team doesn't lose a significant player, I mean, we're already two or three injuries down before that game, with the likes of Party not being available, Tierney, who's been
being
one of
not
the
available.
main players across the season. Um, we're thinking that actually we can probably just get through this and maybe go and beat Newcastle on Monday, and everything's back to normal. Then we're back in
Hmm.
the hunt. But then Gabriel is there holding his
Holding
hamstring,
suspended,
and
and
and and and our
Gabriel's holding hamstring.
heads are in our hands, aren't they?
Yeah, mate, that was by far the worst moment for me in the game because that didn't just mean that okay, this game was gone. We knew this game was gone, but it's the game after and the game after. We've still got two more games in the season, and there we are. Our only recognizable centre back, by the way, right on the field left, is holding his hamstring.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
now, that we don't know how bad it is. Arteta said it himself. He doesn't know. They're going to get a scan. Hopefully he's fit. Hopefully it's just a strain. Hopefully
Well,
just
rumours
this thing.
are that he's travelled with the squad tonight to up to Newcastle. So I don't know. What do you think? Does
Well,
that tell
well,
us anything?
before we get on to it, let's wrap up the North London derby in this segment. Then, I think on the playoff wave we
Well, they
both
wrapped
agree.
us up. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's they wrapped us up nicely. And today, again, they got a win, penalty from Kane against Burnley, which I was hoping would be a draw,
Yeah.
right? Because they were struggling. It was one of those moments where they were. I'm pretty sure you didn't catch the game because why would you, right? So, but they were struggling. I mean, they were struggling in terms of not creating chances, but putting them away. Nick Pope was brilliant. Burnley was defending deep, which they can do.
I did watch parts of it, if I'm honest
Yeah,
with you, and from what I heard from the commentary, that Burnley did themselves proud. To be fair.
yeah, but Burnley did, and they were fighting for their lives. So I really hoped that would be the draw. So just to paint the picture, the next game Tottenham have, which is the final game of the season for them, is Norwich at home, I think, and that's going to be a slap of what 5 6 goals.
Yeah, they'll win that. Yeah.
They'll win that. So Tottenham will get maximum points, 9 points we talked about, and they'll get to 71 points,
Mm,
right? So they will get to 71 points for the end of the season, which puts them in the driving seat for top four.
yeah.
Now, mind you, and let's talk about this in this segment now. Arsenal's next game, Newcastle, and the game after that. So Newcastle's away, and the game after is Everton at home. So
Mm.
let's talk about Newcastle. You were just talking about our
Yeah.
team selection. So what you've heard so far is that Gabriel and Ben White have both travelled to the north.
Yeah.
So do you think they'll start?
um, I don't know, Zed. I don't know. I think it's telling though that he's travelled. And look, my gut feeling is that Gabriel will be all right. I think. I look 2 games to go. Arteta will be saying to the medical team, plug him in with however many injections you can find just to keep him numb. I mean, I know you can't do that with hamstrings, generally
No, no,
speaking.
you can't. Not with hamstrings, man.
I wonder though if it was hamstring. We haven't. They've been actually quite tight-lipped, haven't they? Nobody.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not
they've
official.
not said anything.
It's not official that it's a hamstring. Although he was holding his hamstring, it may have been a knock. Well, it couldn't have been a knock,
He
could
couldn't
it
have been
be?
a knock.
Obviously, I mean the way he's holding it.
Yeah,
But it might have been a strain. Let's say, sometimes you get strains. It's not a complete muscular. I mean, look, I'm no medic, but what I'm trying to say is that if he was going to be ruled out by now, we would have heard about it because what is it? It was Thursday night the game, and where are we now?
yeah.
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
So he would have been seen by the medics, and the fact that he's travelled with the squad, I think they're going to have patched him up as much as they can, and I think you are probably going to see maybe a 50 or 60% fit Gabrielle and maybe a 50 or 40% White.
Oh,
But
that
the
isn't
question,
good.
no, it's not good. But the question goes back to you now, Zed, is that is a 50, 60, 40, 50% back centre back line that we're used to seeing and has been so good or okay across the season better than having maybe a 40, 50% Ben White and a Chaka in there?
Uh, I would rather prefer Al Neni because he'll do the job.
You know something. I was going to talk about that if you'd have asked me about El Neni because El Neni, even from the Arsene Wenger days, was
He has
trialled
played
at
in.
left back
Yeah,
in
well,
friendlies in the pre-season,
yeah,
and
he
didn't
has
do
the
a bad
ability to play
job.
centre back.
Didn't do a bad job.
No, no, he can play. He can play centre back.
But the
He's more
problem with that
suited.
then is I mean, obviously, if you take Chaka or El Neni out, you're having to then play with Lakonga in the middle, aren't you? Which
Well,
then
yeah,
weakens us there.
you're up against Joe Linton,
Bruno Gomes and what have you, and
yeah,
in the
John Joe Shelby,
yeah,
Bruno Gomes, and what you call bloody what's the other guy? The number seven. Completely forgot. Joe Linton. That's the one.
yeah,
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 you're against him, and they're all physically quite good, and Guimaraes is technically very very good. So I think um, I would have it. I think
what El
as
Neni?
far as well, no, I'd rather have Gabby and Ben White in as centre back. My problem is
Mm,
Newcastle have got Chris Wood up at top, right? And
yeah,
he's a lamppost to aim at.
yeah,
They've got Kieran Trippier back from injury, I
and he
think.
scored a few against us when he played for Burnley, hasn't he,
Yeah,
Chris Wood?
exactly.
Yeah,
And the height advantage is pretty good. So we need Gabriel to be able to jump, all right?
yeah,
Um, to be fair, I would try something else, which you probably don't. I don't know if you will think about it, but Tomiyasu, he's
yeah,
played centre back,
he
and
has.
right centre back he's played very well. So I would rather have him and Ben White
Yeah,
play, and Tomiyasu's got the physicality. If
yeah.
Gabriel's not there, or partner up either one, whoever is the
Then you
fittest of the
bring
two.
Cedric onto the right back and play Lakonga at
Nuno,
left. Yeah,
Nuno, Nuno Tavares on the left
yeah,
back, right,
yeah,
right. That's the way. Or you go with the back three with what you call Tomiyasu, Cedric, and one of the Gabriel or Ben White. But I
yeah,
think I really don't know what he's gonna do because I don't know who's fit and who isn't fit. But it's a
yeah.
key point
The other thing as
for
well is
Arsenal.
again it's just pointless even mentioning, but I still will. I mean, if Kieran Tierney was fit, he plays left centre back for Scotland, and he's played
Yeah,
left centre back for Arsenal in the past, so that would have always given us an option as well. But
yeah,
obviously, he's not there, so
he's not there. So I
no
think
point.
our lack of squad depth has really come back to bite us. And if
Yeah.
this was Danny EFC TV, he will be plugging in the fact that
Well,
Saliba's.
he's streaming now as we speak, and he's probably that's all he's talking about. But
Well, yeah, I think
yeah,
he's probably talking about Saliba being the
yeah,
young player of the
yeah,
year. But
Yeah.
I think on that, Arteta and Arsenal have been very clear. Saliba's in the plan for next season because
I've heard that, and
yeah.
that's the other thing as well. Is look, this is what I mean. I have tried to explain this to Danny countless times. He's not having it, but we did sign Ben White, so clearly the partnership was always going to be Ben White and Gabriel going through the season.
Hmm.
We were knocked out quite early in the cup competition, so and we're not in the Europa League.
Yeah.
So, would how where would Saliba be now? Been sitting on the bench across the season for probably numb because he wouldn't have played much. Do
Yeah.
we really think that he was going to come in now and be this? He's a class player now
Absolutely.
because of his loan.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah. Of
actually
course. Of
just won
course.
player of the
Young player of the season.
of the
Yeah.
young player of the season. Out in France. So clearly for him to be playing out there on his loan and get the confidence, clearly now is the time to be. Look, now you go up against those centre backs now. You give them the competition next season. You know,
Yeah. And I think with Saliba, I know we're getting distracted, but with Saliba, Arteta has a real chance to play three at the back
yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
proper three central defenders, with
yeah.
Ben White on the right, Saliba in the middle, and Gabriel on the left.
Yeah, there's nothing getting past that. But as I say, all context. But yeah, coming back to obviously what you're saying around the defense situation as squad. I mean, I,
Hmm.
I think the rest of the team then picks itself. But yeah, I think the fact that Gabriel is gone and Ben White is gone, and the fact that also Ben White was basically getting ready to come on against Spurs would suggest that he's got some legs in him. But look,
I don't think he's ready for 90 minutes. I think he's barely ready. That's mainly the reason why Arteta said, you know what, hold on, game's gone. They've just scored a second one.
yeah, yeah, which is probably in the context probably sensible because
Yeah,
if he ends up getting further injured, we're in a big crisis then, aren't we? You
yeah,
know.
exactly, exactly. Regardless of what happens, Arsenal will be playing Europe, right?
Yeah,
European
yeah,
football. So they've qualified for Europa League, and that's what they'll play for. But anyway, Newcastle. Just wrapping it up. The
yeah,
rest of the team is going to be exactly the same as you say. We're going to have Saka. We're going to have Martinelli. We're going to have Odegaard as captain. We're going to have Xhaka and Lenny. All of that is all going to be the same. The question now is, can we go away to Newcastle, another great stadium, St James's Park,
yeah.
another very atmospheric stadium, and they are going to make it really hard for
They
us,
will. Yeah,
right? I mean, very hard. Do you think Arsenal can go away and get a win? And considering Tottenham won today, 1-0 it may be, 3 points is what counts.
yeah.
Arsenal need to desperately win. If Arsenal don't win tomorrow, that's game over.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
So can
So here's
Arsenal do it?
so here's the thing, right? I think, and again, probably people wouldn't have analysed it like I'm about to. I think if Tottenham draw today or lose, I think that gives our team a little bit of, oh well, we've still got 2 games to go. I think ramping up the pressure on us gives
Hmm.
us the needed pressure to go and get a result. It is do or die tomorrow evening.
Hmm.
It is literally do or die. Those players, that is tomorrow, is the Champions League final for them. Those
Yeah.
players, right? Is this is the game, the result? And I know we said that about the Spurs game, but this is really the game, isn't it? Really, because I think you can relax a little bit then if Everton get something over at Palace, or I don't know whether they're home or away, but even if they get a point again, I mean they could lose and still be safe. By the way, I think Everton could. So, but if they play us the last game of the season and they're already safe, I think they're on the beach. Everton are, and I think we win that game. So tomorrow, the pressure is absolutely ramped up. Now, I am worried. I am worried about
Hmm.
the squad depth situation and the fact that we may not even have a recognised centre back partnership tomorrow.
Yeah.
But look, we've been backs against the wall in those 3-4 games, starting with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which none of us thought we would win, and then Man United at home, and then West Ham away, and we've got to be under siege, and I think that's what Arteta was trying to do
Hmm.
straight after the game in his interview with the press, with Sky Sports straight thereafter. It was that siege mentality straight away that the refs are against us, everybody's trying to take us off course. And tomorrow the boys need to come out with a performance. They need to
Hmm.
come out the blocks quickly, and they need to score first, and they need to pile the pressure on Newcastle and manage the game thereafter. And yes, I think they can.
Yeah, okay. No, that's positive. I like that. I like that. I think they should go in with positivity. We don't have a bad record against Newcastle, but obviously Newcastle have been on form as well in this new year. They've
What
got
have
a
they
new.
got to play for, though, Zed? That's my question to you. Newcastle, they're not going to get relegated.
No, 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 they're safe.
They're
They're
safe. They're
miles.
thinking about the summer already. They're on the beach as well. All right, the pride they've got to play for in front of the fans. I know they love a game against us, but on paper we should be winning this game.
On paper, yes, but it depends on the team that's on the field itself, right? Um, I mean, in the last pod, we both came out and said, look, this was going to be a difficult game and most likely a draw away. Yeah. So, um, I think it's going to be a very, very tough game. It's not going to be a easy game. So, in terms of their situation, I think Shelby is probably not going to play. Joe Willock will not play. Okay, so I mean, we know when it comes to former players against their club, they always find a goal, right?
Yeah,
So at least Willock won't play and John John Shelby won't play. So in the midfield, they're gonna have Gimeres, they're gonna have Almiron, and they're gonna have Joe Linton. So maybe we can do something there. It's their attack which lacks. I don't know if Colin Wilson's gonna be playing or not. He loves a goal against us as well.
yeah,
So I think probably we I think we should win. I think we can win. Remember, Newcastle have lost the most amount of games in the Premier League against Arsenal. If it's something to give you confidence, they've
yeah, yeah,
lost 33 Premier League games against Arsenal, more than
yeah.
against any other side in the competition, right? And Arsenal won 17 of their 18 in the last. So there is history. There is the fact that we can win, even if it's 1-0, even if it's a scrappy win. 3 points
Oh
is
my
what
God,
counts.
I take an own goal. You know, we just need the 3 points. Look, we can. Whether we will or not is a different matter.
It's a difficult thing, man. Remember, Liverpool only managed to win 1-0 with their attack when Newcastle were home. That's why I think that defensively, they're very, very good. They've got, Dan Burns as the giant in there in the centre back. It's you're not going to get any crosses or anything in there. It's going to be hard to break them down. It's a hard working team. So I do think a goal from a free kick, corner rebound, or a scrappy goal will do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the way it's
Well,
going to be.
I'm hoping for more than one goal, and look, I need to keep my health in order tomorrow, please. So, I take a 2-0.
Yeah.
But yes, look, why
Okay.
not? Why not, Zed?
Why
Why
not?
not?
Why not? Why
Yeah.
not? Why not? Why not? I think we're going to be positive. I'm going to go for a 1-0 to Arsenal.
Mm.
One. But
Don't
yeah,
ask me for my prediction, mate.
I'll spare you. I'll spare you. So I'll spare you that. So, um, just to redo the math, essentially, is Arsenal need to win both of their games
Yeah,
to guarantee qualification to the Champions League. And if they win both these games, it doesn't matter what Tottenham do. We will
yeah,
take that away. So it is all in, and still is in Arsenal's hand.
it
Forget the
is.
table, forget the table, forget everything else. It is the two games that have to be played, which
Yeah,
is away to Newcastle, tough games, but Arsenal have the history and momentum on their side. They have to bounce back. I think you've talked about in the previous pod that Arsenal don't seem like a team who bounces back quickly after one
yeah. I
loss,
have said that before, haven't I?
right?
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it takes a couple of losses in a row for Arteta to bounce back, and that's been a pattern. So he has to break that pattern, go away to Newcastle and get a win. It is absolutely necessary to get that win because Spurs will smash Norwich, who have nothing to play for. That's their last game in the Premier League until a couple of seasons later they can bounce back because they'll
yeah.
bounce back again very quickly. That's just they're a yo-yo club. I think just like who's the other one? Bournemouth or Watford? Watford.
Watford, Bournemouth, Norwich, they're all yo-yo clubs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all yo-yo clubs, right? So they they'll bounce back in a couple of seasons. Fulham is the other one as well. They'll be here in the Premier League getting smashed again, but I don't see any way Tottenham losing to or drawing to Norwich, right? So Arsenal have to win tomorrow, 7 p.m. just to add the pressure on. But
Yeah.
I think the boys can do it.
Let's hope so, Zed. As I say, there's no reason why we can't, but whether we will or not is something I'm still a little bit worried about. But let's see.
Yeah, well, Arman and Lenny's come back and said, look, same thing we were saying. It doesn't change anything. We've got 2 games. They have to win it, and we'll be in top four. That's what matters.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what I do like, if there is a positive out of this, is that siege mentality. He will be telling the boys, Arteta will, the world is against us at the moment. The refs are against us. Look at the decisions that are taking place. Put it behind you, though. Let's not even give them an opportunity. Let's do the talking on the pitch.
Yeah, just FYI, and Lenny over the last 5 Premier League games is first for passes completion, first for interception, first for tackles and possession won in the midfield, and passes completed. To the final third, by the way, is third.
Wow. I mean,
So
you
he
want
has
my
been.
honest opinion? I couldn't give a shit about that stat, right? I just want 3 points tomorrow.
No, there are 3 points, yes, but
Yeah,
we've talked about it in the previous part on
he's
a
been a
slightly.
brilliant. He's been a
He's
brilliant replacement for Party. To be honest with
absolutely,
you,
and I think
you
he
know.
should be kept at Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've told you my thoughts on that already.
yeah. Okay, alright, mate. I think we're gonna finish it there. A quicker, smaller pod, but I don't think we have the energy to discuss anything
No,
more
not at all. No.
at this time of night. But I'm gonna say thank you very much, mate, for coming on for a late recording, but powering through anyway. Hope you get a good
Absolutely.
night's rest. But can you let
And
the
you.
people know where to find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on at Harry Carnu on Twitter, and I'm always tweeting about all things Arsenal. So do try and follow me if you happen to catch me. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. And you can get me on Zed at Z underscore TAGP. Again, as I say every time, reach out to us if you want to have a discussion or come on the pod. We'll love to have you. Listen, everyone, thank you very much for listening. A bit of a short podcast. I hope you have a lovely Monday morning, as much as we hate it. But we will all see you, or you'll hear us after the Newcastle game. We will either be very happy or we'll either be very sad and crying, and it'll probably be us sobbing for
Yeah.
40, 50 minutes. So look forward to that. Anyway, take care. Good night.